welcome to another Meet the Cast episode. I am here with our newest cast member, Megan Overholt.
I'm punched to be here.
You're punched.
Yes.
Well, we won't punch you.
Okay.
So
I might punch you. No, I'm kidding.
That's fair, as long as you don't break any bones.
Nope.
Let's start with your background, though. When did you first become interested in performing in general?
I was a majorette, probably starting at the age of 7.
Oh, wow.
Before that, my mother had signed me up for some dance class and things like that when I was about 3. So I think my first stage performance was dance when I was 3. It was ballet and tap. Mm-hmm. And then moved on to majoretting. And I think I did that until probably, well, I don't know date-wise, but I remember dance being something that led into theater because I think somebody came to our dance school and wanted to do The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay.
So I played Glinda.
Nice.
Yes. Love wearing big pink puffy dresses, but then also got to play Captain Hook in Peter Pan and discovered I loved being a pirate as well, so...
Nice. Princess and a pirate.
Yes.
A pirate princess?
Yes.
Perhaps?
Oh.
About how old were you when you were playing those roles? Was it high school, middle school?
It had to have been about maybe 13, I would guess. So a really...
Still young.
Yeah, but still... And also a time in your life when you're still trying to invent yourself to be cool, you know, or... I don't know, accepted by your peers.
That's very interesting. I don't know. So was this through a school or through a community thing?
It was the Pittsburgh Performing Arts School, I believe. And my mom had been taking aerobics, and they do dance at the school. She took aerobics at, I think they were doing the Nutcracker. Okay. And she played the maid, and then she signed us up for ballet after that. So it was through that school. And then from there, my dance teacher sat us down and said that I would never be a dancer because I was too big. And so I decided to go more on the acting side of things.
That's insulting.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's also...
Aren't the Rockettes tall?
Well, it was tall but also curvy because I developed at a young age. And while all my peers were still skinny stick figures, I was... let's just say we would do something on the floor and my hips were like, whoa, whereas everyone else was still straight.
I see. And the ballet dancers tend to be...
Yes. Sinewy and tight, long, lean muscles. And I had the tight muscles, but leg-wise, they were more, I don't know, comic book character-ish. And at that time, it wasn't a popular body shape. I kind of thought, oh, well, I guess I'll play the, quirky best friend forever, never the ingenue. But, yeah, I got a lot of closed doors because of just how I looked, and now it's changing, and I'm so happy for the younger generations. But, you always go, well, why couldn't that happen when I was a kid? But at least it's happening.
I mean, we almost didn't cast you because of your luck.
I'm very lucky.
I think that's part of what I love about this show, and we'll talk about this show more later, but, I mean, I really like doing gender, age, body type line casting.
Yeah, and, I had one of those, I called it a Dustin Hoffman moment, where I went into an audition where they were only looking for people that were 5'6" and under, and it was Anna and the Androids. I went anyway, and I got cast, so...
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, IABD, for having my android moment. Casting regardless of how I look.
Back to you and your background. So you did dancing and those types of productions through school.
Yes.
And then after you graduated high school, did you continue to do a lot of performance?
Mm-hmm. Even before I graduated high school, I was in the Young Performers Institute, which was something that, at the time, it was Gargaro's Studio G. Now I think it's the Pittsburgh Musical Theater Company. Okay. I would leave school half day, go down to their performance space and rehearsal space and take classes until probably about 5 o'clock. And after high school, I went to Duquesne University for music. My goal in life was to go to Carnegie Mellon University, which I did get into the pre-college, but I did not get into the regular college. It's a conservatory type school, so they only have a certain number of slots.
Sure.
But it actually turned out to be good because we would never have afforded the, cost of going there. So, but it was one of those things where I had put all my eggs in one basket. I was like, this is going to happen. I'm going there. That's my goal. And it didn't happen. So scrambled, went to Duquesne for about a semester. And I was told, if you're here for musical theater, you're not at the right school. And, so after about a semester, I transferred to Clarion University, which is no longer a university.
Oh, no.
But yeah, it was probably 4 years in that I decided, maybe 3.5 years in, that I decided that life was waiting for me outside of those doors and just dropped everything and ran back home to try and, start my career before I was too old to have one, because again, back then it was, you had to have a certain look and they weren't going to cast women over a certain age for pretty much anything. Now it's changed, so I think I have a bright future ahead of me.
When you decided that wasn't going to happen, did that discourage you from performing at all, or did you know you still were going to perform?
When I got that rejection letter, I packed up everything I had, my music books, everything. I was like, guess this is not for me, this is not my future. And probably 3 months later, I was like, I don't want to be an opera singer. I want to be a performer.
Yeah.
I've given up a lot of times in my life, but I go right back to it. It's kind of interesting.
But I think they say that if you are born to perform, you just can't give it up. You can try, but if you feel that urge, you're just going to keep coming back to it.
It keeps pulling me back in.
I know. What kind of performing did you think you'd want to do for a living? Like Broadway, TV, movies, musical theater? What?
I really, really wanted to be an actor. I knew I could dance. I knew I could sing, but I really thought that, that intellectual, really deep kind of existence would happen on stage, but it turns out that I would always go back to dance, and that seemed to be more what I would end up doing. If I would get cast in something, it would be in the chorus to dance.
Okay.
And then I would be told, I can't stop watching you, that kind of stuff. So I thought, but I'm too big to dance.
I mean, I've only seen you dance a few times, but you seem very talented at it, so.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. I really do.
So were you trying to be more of a stage person or a screen person?
Stage. I never had a desire to be on screen. I know I have a look, but I'm not exactly photogenic for some reason. And I really never liked watching myself on film. I never wanted to go to California. Actually, I was on my way to Chicago was my next stop when I stopped here in Columbus, and just never moved on. I love Columbus, so I stayed.
What brought you to Columbus?
Shadowbox.
Oh, okay. You came in to work for them?
Yes, I auditioned for their, it was a Midwest Theater Conference, and I got a call back for Cedar Point, Showboat Becky Thatcher, and Shadowbox. And Shadowbox was intriguing to me because they would say, it's sketch comedy and rock and roll, and we have classes, and I thought, and there's a possibility of full-time employment. So I thought, I just quit college, and now I need to prove to my parents that I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to go for a full-time job. Well, got offered a part-time position and told, you sound like Janis Joplin, because I auditioned with a Janis Joplin song. I idolized her. You sound like Janis Joplin if she came back as an opera singer. Now, back then, I was like, I got to work on that. Now I'm thinking, well, why couldn't you market that?
Yes.
Why couldn't that be uniquely what I have, that your audience could come and see me?
I feel like that would fit in well at Shadowbox.
Yeah. Oh, no. So they offered me part-time, and so I'm not sure if they thought maybe I wouldn't take it because I was from out of town. Never had been to Columbus except for the audition. But I did. I took a chance and I moved here. I got another part-time job in the mall because I didn't even know where Shadowbox was. I knew it was in Columbus.
This is when it was at Easton?
It was at Easton.
Yeah.
My dad and I pull up, and I'm like, this is a mall, but...
Being from Columbus, though, Easton was the hip spot at the time.
And their space was really cool.
It was great.
It mimicked their original, or second space, I think, in downtown Columbus. So it was pretty cool, and it was hidden right by the bathrooms in Easton Town Center proper. So it was okay. So you probably saw some of the shows that I was in.
Quite possibly. I was poor, so I went 2 or 3 times in college. And we'd get the pitchers of rum and coke for $25, and we'd order our own pitchers and stick a straw in it.
Yes.
And it was so much fun.
Awesome. Yeah.
Those were good nights.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to stick to that schedule now. I'm very much an in bed by 10 person.
Oh, me too. The only night once a month I stay up past 10 is for this. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know our show's over before 10, but I go out after.
Party animal.
No, I'm just so wired after a show.
Yes, me too. Oh my goodness. That is one thing that I still get is after a show, I just want to talk about it, analyze it, like, just talk about the next thing. And I have such a passion for it, in every other thing in my life. I guess my sister would call it imposter syndrome. When it comes to theater, I just feel like I feel like me. This is what I'm supposed to do. I never have any doubt in my ability to get stuff done. Yes, in my ability to be consistent in character, my ability to get something across without being... I definitely have those doubts, but if I were to be, say, in charge of some of the shows I've done, I look back, I'm like, wow, I had a lot of confidence and felt right. I felt like me. And I don't get that a lot in anything else in my life, so yeah.
So we got off topic a little bit. How long did you stay at Shadowbox?
Probably about 5 years. I left and then came back a little bit because I really wasn't sure what all I could get into here in Columbus. And I stayed on to do some costuming and then found there were other theaters and other theater companies that, I could do some work with, so.
Lots of theater companies.
Oh my goodness.
Not a lot that pay.
Well, see, that's the thing. I really wish money wasn't even an issue.
I know.
Because I just like to perform. When I started Truly Scrumptious, people would say, you need to ask how much you're going to get paid. You need to go get your money for this gig that you were supposed to go get. And I would just be like, whoa, because it would be like $20. And yes, it's $20, but it's $20 you didn't have.
Yeah.
But to me, I just wanted to be on the stage. Damn it.
That's how I feel about writing, so I get it.
So, yeah.
I just want to write.
Because I had a lot of friends, and they've been, successful at doing this, that they were like, I'm not going to do a show unless I get paid. Like, good for you. But I just need to be on stage. I need the audience. I need love. So. And
I wish we could pay. If this show starts making money, I don't know if you've read over the print of what I had everybody sign, but everybody gets a cut. Like, there's not going to be... I'm not going to get rich and then make you guys work for free. That's not the way it works. Because we've all put in so much. It's a true group effort. But you mentioned Truly Scrumptious.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Because that's where I first became aware of you.
Yes.
You performed right before IABD at ComFest one year. But I was aware of you before that because I think Keith had mentioned and I saw some online clips. How did that start?
Okay, so Keith and I met at when I was an Anadroid. So he came to some shows. And then I kept meeting him at different conventions as Truly. And he was doing It's All But Done Radio. I was like, Keith keeps popping up in my life. This is awesome. And I'm going to totally get off track about talking about Keith, so I'm going to go way back. So Truly started because one day I was sitting at an Anadroid gig and somebody looked at me and said, you should do your own stuff. And I was like, no one's ever really said that to me before. So I started to think, and then Anna left to go to California, and I didn't have an outlet like that, which is like the performance art. I started working with my friend Kate Owens as Button and Snap. She was Button, I was Snap, and we would do dance vignettes that she would come up with. And through that, I met Electrical Circus. And Salvatore Portia, he was a member, he's the bass player. He was like, you should just do your own stuff. I was like, okay, now people keep saying this to me. But he actually was able to say, we're doing a show where dancers are doing burlesque, belly dancing, anything and everything. Come up with something and show up. So I did. And it turns out that I loved doing burlesque. My first few things were no reveals. They were about maybe 2 minutes long, and I would only do one number. And then over the years, it kind of progressed into you do 2 numbers, and they're all about 3 minutes long. And I discovered the joy of pasties, which, sorry, Mom, sorry, Dad. But yeah, it was really a lot of fun. And then I would travel around with Electric Alt Circus and do backup singing with them, and also do some live performing. So I got to see a lot of really divey bars all throughout weird places in Ohio, and I love those experiences so much. But yeah, that's how Truly Scrumptious started. I liked the name because it was Truly Scrumptious. This Chitty Chitty Bang Bang woman comes into a guy's life who has 2 kids and helps raise them, kind of mirrored my life. So I was like, but I'm going to change it. It's going to be TRULIE because it's a true lie. Because this really is who I am, but I'm wearing a pink wig and lots of makeup. And, you know, it's a side of me that I'm bringing out more. So it's like a true lie, I guess. I don't know. Nice. You get really creative. And then Scrumptious, because scarily, a lot of times people would look at me like they were going to eat me, so I thought it was hilarious to make it sound so innocent, but it was really about cannibalism. Oh, no. I think I put too much thought into this. So Salvatore was a part of this thing with ECC called the Schizo Show, and he wanted to write more 40s patter comedy. Mm-hmm. And I like that, so we started writing together, and he came up with his character of Totally Awesome. I did not name him. He named himself.
Okay.
And he's aware of how pretentious the name is. And then we kind of thought, oh, well, let's do the Truly Awesome Show. I think he came up with that name, and then we started the company Truly Awesome Productions. And that was, I think we're about the same, we're the same age. I think as far as it's all been done in Truly Awesome Productions, I think you said we were at Comfest together. I think I remember you guys at, like, there was a Grandview...
West Grandview Fringe Fest?
Or some Fringe Fest, okay. Yeah. And then I think you were at Arts Fest as well.
Yeah, we've done Arts Fest.
So we always were like this, you know, which I was just... It was awesome. I was like, that's such a good idea to do a live radio show, but it's a podcast, is bringing into...
I stole the idea, you know.
Well, it's all been done, so Did you steal the idea?
I did steal the idea, because there was a show out in L.A. that they actually didn't start podcasting or recording for podcasts till 5 years into their run, and they only ran about 10 years. Mm-hmm. Now, they did, during the pandemic, do some like special live performances of streaming, and so they're not like totally defunct, but they're basically defunct now. But it was a monthly live show that eventually they started recording for podcasts, and they were ending, and I loved them. It was called The Thrilling Adventure Hour. Uh-huh. And I was like, well, if they're not going to do it anymore, and I'm Googling and nobody else is doing it, we can do it, and we'll do it for podcasts from the beginning.
Well, now knowing that you're not the genius that I thought you were, I'm going to leave.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
Nice to meet you.
It's totally fair. I appreciate it. No, and you talked about, I obviously saw you perform Truly Awesome, and I was like, this is such a fun, interesting, it's like a live action, but it's comedy, and it's got like Japanese?
It was more, it was definitely anime influenced. We love anime, and I was doing the anime eyes and the sort of lenses and everything. And mainly I created that look because I was also working in corporate America. So I couldn't have, I was worried that I would lose my job if they found out that I was not even necessarily doing burlesque, but working with burlesque people, because people didn't really, I did try my hand at burlesque. It was always comedy. I could never take myself seriously, but it was more performance art. I think people would categorize me as neo-burlesque, which I really thought was pretty cool. But I didn't really want to lose my income because I had 2 kids and a husband to take care of, so that was kind of important.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, when we needed to recast Z, you were the first actress that popped in my head because of seeing you perform, and I was like, I think you have the right energy for this part, but I wasn't sure you'd want to do it because I'm like, you're busy with your own stuff. And then after you did Z once and came back, and then we were like, we started losing a couple cast members, and I'd always wanted this to be better gender balanced. And so we're like, we need to fill some holes. Let's actively start looking for female cast members so that we can make it a little better balanced. Because the balance right now is based on who auditioned. We got a lot more male auditions than female. It wasn't a purposeful. We had, of our 5 segments we started with, 2 of them were female led because we wanted to make it, more balanced. Obviously our superhero and then porn star detectives.
I loved porn star detectives.
It's great. We're going to bring a little bit of that back here soon. So, but also the way it was starting to feel really cringy for the time. So it needed to go. But that's not to say we can't bring the characters back in a different way. Mm-hmm. So we'll work on that. But anyway, so I was like, you got all this other stuff going on, but you're so talented. I'll reach out to you and see if you're interested.
Yeah, for sure. I had watched shows. I liked University. I loved Daniel Kravitz, which you can probably hear in the background. The musical is being rehearsed right now. And it was just, I really loved it. It was so funny. And when you asked me to be part of it, I was like, I've always kind of wanted to be in Star Trek. So yes, especially because the character reminded me of Q. And I was like, yes. Yeah. So yeah, it was awesome.
We've got some good Z stuff coming up. I think you're going to be excited.
Well, and Z's aged now, right? Before she started out with this childlike bubbly energy, which definitely was truly, truly existed to get me out of my troubles and my worries and just to be the happy person I always wanted to be, at least for like 2 hours would be nice. So that translated well, but now she's a little devil. Yeah, a moody teenager, so.
I think she's going to be moving into her college phase, but it's still going to be...
So no showering, lots of hacky sack.
I like that character, and we've threaded it throughout the series, so it's cool. And there's a big Z story coming up here that's going to kind of, I think, pay off the last few years of story and take the segment in a different direction. So she's going to be a major catalyst in what's coming. So I'm excited for that, even though we'll never see her like on a monthly basis because that kind of ruins what the character is.
Yeah, you don't want too much of a good thing. But,
you get to play another great character on Universe Journey. I think it's I like Norton.
Norton, yes. Norton was, I had never thought of myself as a voice actor and was really bad at accents. The number one note I'd always get is, we can't hear you, and I'd worked really hard to get rid of my Pittsburgh accent. So I was just like really self-conscious about even the way I look when I talk, it's just, so I think actually wanting to be an actor was probably never going to happen. I probably should have always gone toward the more dance performance kind of thing because I was always so self-conscious. But when you're in front of a microphone and it's just going to be recorded, I really don't care how I look, so it's okay. Nice. Norton was, Kristen Green helped me because I was like, I'm not sure I'm okay with it. I'm not good at voice acting. Please help me. And she gave me this small note to just say, like, at some point in time, have your character do something like the growl. It was like a growly voice at first because I auditioned for something else. You said to use that voice, and I was like, I don't think I'm doing this right. And so that note kind of helped inform, and I started to really like what I could do with my voice. I was like, this is actually like singing, which was the moment it clicked. And then I was like, I can play with this stuff. This is awesome. And I started trying to do different voices, and I really started to have fun with it and be less self-conscious about it. So
it hasn't come on the podcast yet when this goes up, but your goat voice that you did for It's All Been Theater last month was so clever because it was basically Kim Kardashian as a goat, but you had the Kim Kardashian aspect in there while still making it goat bleeding. And I just sent that to the other actors that were playing goats in the segments and listen to this. This is what you should aim for, because it was such a brilliant audition.
Thank you. I just had too much fun with it. I did not expect to get the part. I just wanted to make you laugh with the audition, which is why I did the goat scream at the end.
You definitely did make me laugh.
Like, okay, no, goats aren't just meh. That's a sheep, so I have to figure out how goats sound. So I was watching videos of how goats sound, and I'm bleeding back at the TV, and my husband comes home and never even questions it. Just goes about his business, and I turn the TV off, and how was your day? And I'm like, are you not going to ask me why I'm sitting here learning how to sound like a goat? He's like, no. I live with you, I know. So that part really made me laugh. I was like, I feel so bad for you. He was an actor too, though. I met him at Shadowbox.
Okay.
He was one of the original founding members. But by the time I met him, he was doing graphics, and he was teaching our comedy classes, which were not really classes. But other than that, he was just acting at Two Coast because he had 2 young kids, so he was more doing the family life thing. But he was also going through a divorce, so I think he was less a part of the nightly operations and things like that. So I felt like he was far enough away, even being on the creative team, from the casting that I could date him.
Okay.
Because I never wanted that to be an influence on why I got a role. I always wanted it to be because of my genius, my talent got me this, my hard work. But, that's not how it always works.
Sure. So he doesn't perform anymore?
He doesn't, and I would drag him into my stuff, as with the Truly Awesome show. He would build me amazing props, and he would do the show, but he did not want to do it. And I've never met another performer in my life who was so able to just walk away and not do anything else. He's an accountant now.
So that's our Seamus, our Foley artist, that left 6 years of being a Foley artist and playing these great characters, and he was going to come back for the Kravitz musical, and then he said, you know what, now that I'm out of performing, I don't think I'm going to go back to it.
Okay.
And I'd already written this part and everything, and I'm like, well, somebody else is going to play your part then, because it bums me out. I mean, he's my buddy. I talk to him regularly. But he's the same. He's like, I walked away. I don't want to go back. And I'm like, why?
Baffling.
Why?
Because I've tried to walk away, but again, it just every single time, I'm just like...
Different people.
Yeah,
something that really impressed me when I reached out to you about doing the show was how you expressed, first of all, I mean, lots of performers have doubts. You expressed doubt in your ability, but then you didn't just say, well, this isn't something I can do, or I'll just do my best and see. You were like, what are some cast members? Give me some cast members I can work with. Who can I talk to? Who can I develop with? And no other cast member's done that. No other cast member has sought out that kind of training, preparation, whatever it is, the way you have when you came in. And so that immediately was like, oh yeah, this is the right choice. Thank goodness.
Awesome.
Because that was just so cool to me that you would even want to put in that effort to be part of this.
Why not ask the people that do it, right? Yeah. They know, and
they're great.
Yeah.
So,
and obviously it clicked, because if she hadn't worked with me, and she, and that's the other thing, she wasn't the only cast member who offered to help.
Yeah.
I mean, most people, you would think they'd be like, I don't want you to succeed. Nope. They were like, yes. If I hadn't done that, then I probably would have been like, I can't really do voices. And then I wouldn't be doing anything, and that's boring. So,
No, we foster a team environment, not a competitive environment. There's room for everybody.
When the troupe talks about who they're going to bring in, when they vote on it and everything, it's a big decision, because you're with that person, for however long until they get fired. So you do have to be, it does mean a lot to be chosen to, because these people were like, yes, I would like to see this person at least twice a month for the next foreseeable future.
I think it's telling, though, that every person we voted on since we instituted the voting, because we didn't have voting back in the day, too many decisions about the show were made while I was drinking and having fun with everybody. Hey, you've been a guest star, you want to be a troupe member now? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then a couple of the troupe members said, you gotta stop that. And I was like, you're right, let's form a committee, let's do it more formal. Not that they had problems with the people that came in necessarily. It was just that's not the way you run a show. And I don't have experience this is my first project like this, so I was like, I like to think I've gotten better at running it as it's gone, but that was definitely a good decision to get more people involved in the decision-making process and stretch it out. But I will say, since we started voting on people, all the votes have been unanimous, because I think by the time we do vote on somebody, we make sure you've been in the show a few times and you've gotten to know the people and everybody's been around you, so we're not going to ask somebody to come in that we're not sure we want to come in. But yeah, it's thrilling. And the other part you got when you came in, besides Norton, was the commercial, The Noobs.
Oh my goodness. So The Noobs is more of the character Snap, which is the button in Snap. I channel Snap. Snap says whatever the hell she wants, and she is pretty violent. But cartoon violence, which
Sure.
is totally acceptable.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love playing it. However, I was really surprised that you all could see that in me.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, wow, they must really be paying attention because they could see this aspect of my character.
I mean, honestly, I just kind of write what feels right. It wasn't something I consciously said,
I
let's
feel
make Megan
seen.
violent.
I feel seen.
So I was just trying to write Ashley and Megan as slightly heightened versions of themselves.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I never know which commercials are going to hit. That one has hit so hard.
Yeah, I was surprised too because, it's an interview, but we don't really ask questions. We, just...
You ask
it's really about ourselves.
Answer.
And it's really just about us, and I kind of prefer that. But yeah, people like it. They must love us. I think you should write more.
We've done one almost every month since it started, and I have been told that I'm not allowed to stop writing until everybody in the cast has had a chance to be rated by you. So
yeah.
We're most of the way through, but there are cast members who haven't gotten a chance yet, and they're mad they haven't gotten a chance yet.
Oh.
Like Kristen has not gotten a chance yet, and she's been very vocal. Darren Roeder won, though, so we'll put it in soon.
Oh, that's exciting. That's the other thing that's really awesome is that it's not just one person writing everything. You can submit stuff, and
Absolutely.
you can add to stories, or there's even pre-show stuff. Mm-hmm. If you come to the live show, that people write, and it's that there's so much creativity. You think just because there's no sets, there's no costumes, there's no props, but there's so much creativity. It's amazing.
And you haven't done an IABD After Dark show yet.
Yes.
Oh, you did. You did the one we did during the pandemic. I'm sorry. Yes. I forgot.
Yes,
it's been a while.
It's okay.
For the first couple of years, we did a lot of extra shows because we were trying to get...
Yeah, you got to get that's the thing. You got, when you, in Columbus, it's very, very, very supportive of their local artists. But if you drop out of the sight of everybody, you drop instantly. And you have to work so hard to get that momentum back up.
We just don't have the energy to do every festival. So you mentioned contributing to radio. You've done a little bit of writing for us. Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Okay, so you used to do the contest. The writing contest.
Yes!
So that's,
it's all been written.
It's all been written, which I love. I love that. And I would love to... Because there's something about... I can't just sit down. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have done it, but I can't just sit down and write because there's too much. You give me parameters, give me some rules and a deadline, and I can come up with something. Okay. And so that kind of got me into writing that way. I've written 4 truly and totally written scripts. Mm-hmm. That got me writing that way. So this company has also gotten me to really buckle down with the writing. Short version of the story, there was some stuff that I just really didn't want to be truly anymore. And so I wrote a bunch of sketches based on my job that I didn't really have anything to do. I couldn't do anything with it. And then I was like, well, I wonder if I can work it out here. I'll submit it. At the very least, I get feedback, did not expect you to actually like what I wrote. And
I rarely reject. I'll rework, but I rarely reject.
I was hoping it was because it was so good.
It was very funny. No, you got very little retooling from me.
Yeah.
It was pretty much as is, so.
And that has happened before. Like, there was one sketch I wrote for Shadowbox called Just Been Fucked Hair Products. It went right from the script to the stage, and that never happened. It always got the Jimmy or Steve rewrite. Mm-hmm. And so I was pretty darn proud of that. They did not like my After Dick Mints, which I thought was hilarious, but they did not. But then I think Saturday Night Live did something similar years later, because I'm so ahead of time. But it is kind of... it's just so thrilling to hear your name written by Megan Overholt. It's like, I'm a writer. But I welcome, notes and things like that. But when it goes right from the page to the stage, you feel like, that was inspired, that, because there is something to it. When you're writing, it just flows, Yeah, I love that.
What else do we need to know about you? What do we expect next from you?
I think I'm going to really do a deep dive into Toad Margot. You'll be hearing a lot from her.
That was supposed to be a throwaway joke, but you showed up with the Toad thing, and now we're stuck with it. I'm not stuck with it because it's so funny, but...
I almost brought her. The visual. I'm good with the visual because, you get the roles that you're not talking, you're just in the background, but you want to be there. It's part of the show. You want to be there. You don't just want to show up. It's boring. So you just get really used to that. And then you have to balance. I do not want to be disruptive to rehearsal.
Oh, no.
But, yeah.
But those are the roles I feel bad about, because I'm like, well, Megan, now you're a toad in every episode of This Is Your Dream Team, and you can't have lines, because we do the toad sound effects.
But I don't
But then you did. You played the ghost anyway. But
yes.
Still, it was like...
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Because we occasionally will let actors play double roles, but...
Yeah.
It takes you out of the running for that segment, and I'm like,
I love it.
I think eventually we'll have to untoadify her, because now she's so important as a character, but...
Or she can meet...
Or, like, sometimes it goes on and off or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here, honestly. I really, really am. It's just, like you said, it's all my life. All I've wanted to do is perform. And when you go through a lot of different companies where things are rough, stressful, PTSD-inducing, it's amazing to be a part of something where you can just show up and they're all lovely human beings.
So you've been with the show about 1.5 years now.
Yeah.
Most of it online, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But now you get to do it live. You going to stay around for a little while?
Yes. It's one of those things where I hope that this is around forever, that you guys don't get sick of me, and that I can be a part of it in any capacity, even if it's just cheering you on, I'm just happy to be here.
This is your last show with us.
Yeah.
No.
But that's okay, because I just found out this isn't your original idea, so I'm outie. No, the fact that you say it's all been done actually opens up more that I can write, because I don't go, well, if that idea has been done. I go, it's all been done.
Yeah.
And it's true, it's all been done. You just put a prettier package together and you mark, yeah. And I took a class during the pandemic online where they were talking about auditioning, and there has been a huge shift. Now they don't want to see, apparently auditionees are to bring themselves to the audition, because the people that are auditioning you want to see you and what you can bring uniquely to the role, which is a huge change, and that's really awesome. So saying, I'm just unique in being here, just like you're unique in being here. So this is my take on it, even if it's all been done before, And I think that really has freed it up, because before I would not only stop myself from doing something because it had been done. Mm-hmm. If I felt I had something unique, I would put so much protection over it that it would never actually get released. Mm-hmm. Like when we redid Who's on First, Who's on Second. When we redid that, I had the clamp on it because I didn't want anybody else to steal it. Well, that's dumb. I stole it. I mean, I didn't steal it. I rewrote it. But you know what I mean. It's like, why was I so paranoid? And then you realize, well, you need to get your medication re-upped. So a little bit of mania will do that to you with the paranoia. So,
what segment are you going to write an episode for?
Okay, so that's the thing, is that you really do have a lot of really good ones. And I loved Packer and Ratcliffe.
Oh, so did I.
So much. Now it's Travels with Tim.
Yeah.
So I was kind of thinking there, or It's All Been Done Radio Hour. Or It's All Been Theater. Yeah. Yes, It's All Been Theater. Those are the two easy access, because they don't have all the baggage with them. Yeah. But we're going to take Universe Journey to a place again soon where you can do standalone episodes. I do think about Universe Journey a lot. It's just that I feel a little bit like, okay, but where it's going,
Yeah, but...
So...
Yeah, but...
Yeah.
I can always help massage character arcs. Mm-hmm. You write the story. And like I said, we're going to take Universe Journey back to where we can do standalone stories again here soon, because I do miss those. Yeah. Even though I prefer arcs, I want to do some standalone adventures too. Yeah. So... Well, we'll end the podcast, but thank you very much, Megan, for being part of this. I'm really glad we have you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the meeps.
It's All Been Done Radio Hour number 355. Meet the Cast, episode number 39. This week, we meet Megan Overholt. This episode was written by Jerome Wetzel. Check out our website, IABDpresents.com. And we also want to thank Circle 270 Media, which this podcast is a part of, and Red Herring Theater, our host performance space. Don't forget to support us at patreon.com/IABD. A mere $2 donation gets you access to past and upcoming live streaming shows, neat, as well as exclusive bloopers and video. Pretty awesome. Check it out. That's patreon.com/IABD.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?